Hello, welcome to another edition of Afrinity Connect with me, Wilfred Adams. Thank you for those that have been following the program, especially the last edition. Thank you for your feedback, your comments. They were all highly appreciated. And for those of you that are just tuning in for the first time, thank you for watching us. A program designed where we talk about humanity, where we talk about events, program, entertainment, politics, economy, just name it. We're here to make your afternoon a memorable one. As designed, for those of you that have been following us, we promise to bring you David Turner all the way, live and direct, is right here with us. Good afternoon to you.
Hello, Wilfred, and I am honoured to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me on your wonderful show today. And obviously, greetings to people all over the UK and West Africa.
Thank you so much. Indeed, it's an honor to have you. I know you're a very busy person. For you to come on the show and agree to be on the show, we are indeed grateful on behalf of the team. So I want you to tell us, who is David Turner for a start, and where exactly are you located right now?
Thank you very much. David Turner is a 54-year-old person who is based not too far from where Wilfred Adams lives. I live about 8 miles from you, Wilfred. So we're sort of neighbours. We're brothers, but we're neighbours. And we met by accident in my road where I live. And you were doing great work. You and your team. You're doing a great job all over Northamptonshire, helping people during the pandemic who are ill or who are old and need care. And I was doing my evening walk, and I stopped to say hello. And we just got talking, and you told me you were from West Africa. And I was very interested because, as you know, when I was a student, I knew a lot of people from Nigeria, Liberia, Guinea, etc. And we were talking about that. And then I asked you what you were doing, and you told me you were working in care. And I was really concerned because of the number of people working in care or the health service who've been ill with COVID-19. And I was involved with a volunteer movement, and we were making the masks to help the people in the hospitals, care homes, doctor surgeries, old people's homes. And I said to you, I think I need to get your organization some of these masks. And that's what we did. So that's how you and I got to know each other.
Yes, fantastic. And eventually you made this, and a lot of it was given, and we are so happy to have this. So why this service? Tell us about it, the idea, and how did it come about, and your organization?
Thank you. My normal job is working as a education advisor. I was a teacher between 1992 and around about 2009. I did some work as an advisor for a local authority. And then in 2009, I was working as a senior leader in a school in Leicester. I'd already worked in a school in Peterborough, and I was very interested in developing my own advisory service. And that's grown. So for the last 10 years, I've worked as an advisor for myself. And then what happened with the pandemic, naturally, is the schools closed. And so as a result of that, I realized that I might not have very much to do for a while. So I was speaking with one of my colleagues who is a head teacher down in Hertfordshire. And at his school, the design and technology team started to make the visors. And I asked for the blueprint, and they sent me the blueprint on email. And I asked the schools in Peterborough, Uppingham, parts of Cambridgeshire, Leicester, Milton Keynes, Bedfordshire, and I spoke with a number of schools. And as a result, they were able to start making the visor that you're holding in your hand. and other types of visors using the same sort of blueprints. They were using laser printers, 3D printers, and they were given large amounts of donated materials, sometimes from private donations from people, and sometimes by organisations such as the British Plastics Federation. Some of my family, for instance, liked it, and they gave donations. In some cases, we had the wives or the husbands of doctors who gave us money as well, and the schools themselves used their own materials. So eventually, although I was not physically making them, eventually I was helping some schools coordinate their ideas and coordinate their production. And so between the start of the lockdown and about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we made 24,000 visors for different people, hospitals, care homes, general practitioners, all sorts of people. And then obviously great people such as you and your team. And then we just went out in our cars giving them away. Or sometimes we had proper arrangements with the Peterborough Health Trust and the Peterborough and Cambridge Health Trust. And we actually had signed agreements to just hand them over. And so they gave them out on different hospital wards. And so we think that we made a good contribution in that way. And I know when I met you, it must have been strange for someone you've never met to say, "Oh, would you like some visors?" And then I just drove them around to your house. But that's what we did. We were literally driving around Northamptonshire, Cambridgeshire, and giving them to people who we thought might need them. And we were very, very lucky that we were able to have such terrific schools making this material. Schools such as Jack Hunt School in Peterborough, that was our hub. Mrs. Pamela Kilby, the chief executive of the Education Trust there, and schools such as the King's Academy in Peterborough, the Ormiston Bushfield Academy, Neame Park, Arthur Mellows Village College, a whole range of schools. Then there was Uppingham Private School. There were schools across Cambridgeshire, including Ely College. There was the Chiltern Learning Trust, where my very good friend Daniel Lambert, he created a production line. They made 14,000 of the visors with a group of schools working together. And so it was a bit like a network, an alliance of people who produced all of this. And my job really was to coordinate information and to try and find people we could give them to. And that's what I did.
Wow. And then you actually saving lives by, doing this wonderful humanitarian job. And it's really commendable. It's something that a lot of people, you don't see often see people doing things like this. We are really grateful for that.
Well, we are very privileged because we've been able to help people like yourself who are actually on the front line, and we're one step behind you, and that's where it's been great for the organisation to help people all over the region. But the good news is, across the UK, we are not the only ones. Across the UK, there are thousands and thousands of people who volunteered in some way to actually make things for different care workers, GPs, doctors, hospitals. One example is in Billericay in Essex. One of my great friends there, Kathy Herlock, she is in the Rotary Club, and they are making the cloth masks for people to have, for everybody to use now, because the government wants people to use a mask when they're in shops or on buses or on the train. And so Kathy and her team are making hundreds of these masks, which people buy, and then they donate the money to charity with any of the profit, you see, after they've bought the materials. And this is just two examples. All around the country, there are many people doing this. But when we think about the pandemic, we know that Europe has had a bad time so far, but now we see South America, parts of Africa, India, being affected in a bad way. I don't know if you've seen this, Wilfred, but the known cases in Africa have now reached 200,000 people, and it only took 19 days to change from 100,000 to 200,000. It took 100 days to find 100,000 cases in Africa. Now there are 200,000 cases, and this is with the known cases. We know that there will be more, and this is why countries, the world needs to work hard together to fight this disease, and countries need to help each other. In the UK, we were worried that there would not be enough ventilators in the hospitals. And we have in this country perhaps 15,000 or 20,000 ventilators with 65 million people. And in some countries in Africa, there is 1, 2, maybe 20 ventilators in the whole country. I think the Central African Republic has maybe 10 ventilators. And so the countries that can make the ventilators need to make them and send them to Africa as soon as possible. If our country is going to recover and it's going to be okay, we need to start sending the equipment to other countries to help them as well. It's really important that we do this as soon as possible and cooperate, because if Africa or South America or India or Southeast Asia, if those areas of the world suffer, then the whole world will suffer.
Yeah, you're right, because we're living in a global village where things intertwine, things move around. So whatever that happens there, adverse effect in either African continent or Europe, or whether Asia or wherever it is. So that's why it's better to, make sure everybody is okay, whether being it in Africa, Europe, Asia, wherever. So I'm very, very excited about what you're doing. So apart from these vices and so many things, I know you are into other things, educational, tell us about that. Tell us about yourself and, your agency and what you do.
Thank you.
I know you're also into music.
Yeah, my company is called SIA, School Improvement Associates, and we were founded in summer 2008.
Okay.
And at that time, there was just myself and another advisor, my wife, and we worked together for 2 years. And then in 2010, because the business had grown and we were working with lots of schools, we incorporated. We became a limited company, and we began to contract people to work for us. So at one point, we had 25 advisors working for us on different projects. Not every day, but we sometimes had up to 25 people on our books, on our list, working with us, and that was a successful time. And we do all sorts of things, helping schools develop their assessment, leadership and management, change management work, the quality of teaching and learning. We give advice on governors. We look at the curriculum, all manner of things. And that's why we've got a general name. Our name, School Improvement Associates, it just gives the impression that we work in school development, and that's exactly what we do. And we've done that, as I say, for 12 years. And we've been a company for 10 of those years. And recently, my wife took a full-time job in a school, and she's now become an assistant head in a school, and is returned to school after 20 years working in the advisory business. So I'm really pleased that she's done it. And it leaves me running the company, which is what I continue to do. And even during the lockdown, we have been working with a variety of companies, a variety of schools all over the UK in different regions. We've worked with schools in the West Midlands, in the east of England, in Norfolk, West Midlands, Birmingham. We've got schools we're working with just this afternoon. When this interview finishes, we're working with schools in Sussex. We're working with schools in coastal Essex. You name it, we're working with schools all over the place, because this is a busy time for schools to be reflecting on what the future might look like. And therefore, we can give them time for reflection, discussion, and help in how they wish to shape things. where they require it if they wish to work with us. And so it's a free. We are a free market organisation. Schools can choose to engage our services just as if they wanted to work with a solicitor or an accountant or pay to see a doctor or whatever. That's how they work with us, and we are education specialists.
Yeah, talking about specialists, and I remember the last time you were talking about sending things over to Africa. With this, your expertise, are you looking at expanding your reach beyond the UK, probably to Africa, or sending your training and your expertise, getting people outside the UK to get to know about the organization?
We'd love to do that, and if there are colleagues in Africa right now who wish to engage, we'd be very happy to meet and talk about whatever their dreams and plans are. Africa is the future. Just the population of Nigeria alone is probably at least 3 times the size of UK or more. And many other African countries have a great demographic profile. There's lots of young people who wish to achieve their dreams, and it is so important that Africa does this on its own terms. The different countries of Africa must be independent. They must be able to be truly African nations, and it's really important that we see that growth because that will be good for the rest of the world. And we're very keen in this company to work with anybody in any part of the world. We have a Facebook page and we have contacts, about 5,000 contacts with people in virtually every country. So we're used to dialogue and discussion with lots of people.
Wow, that's lovely. So when you said you mentioned Nigeria, I was about to also say there are countries like the Gambia. Have you heard of the Gambia? They call it the smiling coast of Africa. A lot of tourists from the UK, Scandinavia go there, for during the summer, during the November, the tourist season, as it's called. And also, it's a country also called Sierra Leone. These are countries also that also got drive, especially like Sierra Leone. The president is trying to go digital with free education. I love the word you used, Africa doing it within their own terms, truly African. That is very powerful to say. And also said Africa is the future. I'm so impressed with those words, and hopefully we should have a better world where every country is able to do things according to their own terms, according to their own way, so that the world can be a better place. So it's really awesome. It's really nice. I also wanted to ask you, how do you manage this work, the other, and with the music? Your profile, how do you manage those things, and how is the music side? Is it that the job has taken over the music, or what's the situation, and where have you been in terms of the music?
Thank you. Well, when I was a little boy, I think I was about 6 or 7 years of age, one of my aunties who lived in Germany sent me a Hohner harmonica, and Hohner are the famous German harmonica company, and their rival is called Seidel. So Seidel and Hohner are the key German manufacturers of harmonicas. Once upon a time, they were the only game in town. They were always the biggest makers of harmonicas anywhere in the world. They've got rivals these days as well in other continents. But I picked up the harmonica and began playing it and annoying my entire family when I was about 6 or 7. And then I got serious about it round about the age of 12 or 13 when a particular band became famous in the UK. And I started to play along to their records, and they became my favorite band. And they had a harmonica player. They were called Bad Manners, and I learned to play the harmonica playing to their records. And then I used to go and see them when I was a teenager. I used to go and see them play. And then one day, the original harmonica player in the band, sadly, was not able to play anymore. He became ill and he retired. And I managed to get his job. So what happened to me, Wilfred, was that I joined the band that was my favourite childhood band, which is very strange and very rare. And think about some of your favourite bands from where you originally grew up when you were little, and think about when you used to dance or sing or play along your own instrument or whatever. Imagine if you thought, I wish I could be in that band. Well, that really happened to me, so it was quite unusual. And
for you.
Yeah, it was. It was great, and I was busy with the band I've been busy with the band for 26 years. I haven't been as busy in the last couple of years because I've been working more on the business. But I've been able to play in every part of the UK. I've been able to play all over Scandinavia, Fennoscandia, all over the European Union. So I've been able to have a really interesting musical life, playing the harmonica, traveling around all the places I thought about when I was a child, and going all over Europe and Scandinavia. It's been terrific. So yeah, I had that, and I was really fortunate when I was a student. Is that I met a guy who used to do what we call an open mic. He used to have an open talent night in the local pub, the bar, and his name was Jez Greetham, and he was a guitarist, and he encouraged me to play alongside him in the back of an English pub, and I used to go and play along, and that built up my confidence, and we've been lifelong friends since 1985, and we're still friends today. And he's a singer-songwriter, and I owe everything to him because he gave me the confidence to actually play and play in public, and then play with full electric blues bands. So I played in a number of blues bands, and then one night I ended up getting recruited by Bad Manners, which is my childhood favourite band, which was a complete accident. You know, it's just like a twist of fate.
You can say that again.
A twist of fate.
Yeah. That's really exciting, and I know because of what you do now, you're not fully into that aspect now. I know you're very busy this day with your organization and what you do. That is very important. And also, you talk about your friend that play a special song for the COVID, the pandemic. So I think, please tell us about him, because we might have to play something from him, because I saw him playing very nice, and tell us about him, and as we try to round up on this special interview with you.
Yeah, Jez is a singer-songwriter. He's actually had an album called Watching the Waves, which is a beautiful album, and that's based on the seaside, because he lives near the sea down in Sussex. And one of the most important features of the album is a photograph of him with his little boy when his boy Reg was little, and he's actually standing on the sea, near the sea, with his son. And it's called Watching the Waves. And there's a number of songs on that album which I think are world-class songs, and Jez is a really talented singer-songwriter. And during this lockdown, he's actually written a song called Lockdown, and it's a very, very hopeful song, and it gives people comfort at this very, very testing time. When people hear it, I heard it, for me, it reminded me of something as good as Bob Dylan, the famous folk and philosophical singer from America. So it really, really made me think a lot when I heard the song. I found it very comforting. And I was hoping, if you don't mind, could we play part of Lockdown for the listeners? Because there's a sort of quite strong Christian message as well. And I know a lot of people who are listening today are Christians, so it would be interesting for them to hear it.
Okay, we're going to drop the song right now. Let's listen to the song.
Long days, long nights, have no fear, you'll be alright. Everything's changed, life's rearranged. We're living in a lockdown. I'm dwelling in a lockdown. Lockdown, lockdown. How much longer in a lockdown? It could be worse. Sure could be better. Pray for those who suffer in need. God's love and mercy will set us free. Time has come for unity. Lockdown, lockdown. I'm dwelling in a lockdown. Lockdown, lockdown. How much longer in a lockdown? Living in a lockdown will help humanity. Living in a lockdown is where we need to be. God bless the NHS, for they deserve nothing but the best. Lift up the frontline workers, for they are heroes, nothing less. With God on our side, we will survive. The 3 and 1 will keep us alive. Lockdown, lockdown. I'm dwelling in a lockdown. Lockdown, lockdown. How much longer in a lockdown?
Wow, 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 wow. This is awesome. Wow.
It's a very strong message, isn't it, Wilfred?
Definitely. This is strong and his direct message. And I love the part where he's talking about those that are making that selfless effort, to help others, people like you, the NHS, the frontline workers. It's really cuts across, and that's nice. And with his guitar dropping it slowly, nicely, that's good.
I did say he's a good singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I know we're going out live at the moment. It would be great maybe one day if you do an interview with Jez.
Yeah, we definitely we can arrange something like that. Definitely, he's really nice. I love what he's been doing, and he is passionate. You can feel the genuinity and the passion and the originality in his songs. That's good. So I know you have other things to go and do now, and we're live, and I want to thank you for coming. And if you have something else you want to say to the general public before we round up.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Wilfred Adams and his care organisation for coming to Corby and for all the great work they've done. There are a lot of older people. There are a lot of frail and vulnerable people, and they have felt the benefit of your care work. And thank you very, very much for helping us, Wilfred.
Thank you too, and thank you for coming to the program. And then we definitely want to have your friend probably in subsequent editions. And my regards to your family, and thank you for coming.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, that's been David Turner, and thank you all for watching. We'll be back again with another exciting edition of Afrinity Connect with me, Adams. Thank you. Bye.